Hi, I'm Steve Anthus, and my aim today for my lessons is to help you have successful practice sessions. And I want to take you through a series of different things that I've worked on over the years that should help you. The main thing here is to try and make the practice sessions as musical as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do though is do some warm-ups with you. And these are about the only things that wouldn't be musical. Because they are just really technical exercises. But they are important because we want to treat ourselves like athletes and we want to be completely warmed up and ready to go when we go to play. So the first thing I'm going to show you are some real simple ones you can do. Some of you probably already know them. The first one here is assigning your fingers 1, 2, 3, 4 on the low E string. And the main thing here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to maintain my fingers spaced out as best as I can to keep each finger over each fret. And what that means is that I have to put my thumb underneath just a little bit here to help with that. If you have your thumb up top, you're never going to be able to spread your fingers out to be able to do something like that. So we want to avoid not being cuppy, as I like to say, when you do this. So, and your wrist should be somewhat, maybe just slightly poked out. But overall, we want to keep it in a neutral, as best as we can, position. So the first exercise is going to be going down each string, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will bring it back up 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be, and I'm going to be an alternate picking. I'm going to be trying to keep my fingers as close to the frets here as I can. And right now, you know, if you're doing this for the first time, you probably won't involve a metronome in this. And then, you know, as you get better at it, things will speed up for you. If we did it with a metronome, maybe you start out with 60 beats per minute here, right? And you're just gonna get this. So what you're gonna do here is you're gonna do maybe one note per click to start out with. So, and that's okay. The main thing is that you're doing it in time, right? Speed is not important right now. Doing it correctly and accurately. Then maybe you get on the eighth notes where that's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now I would incorporate alternate picking with that. So that would go 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... You see I'm like rocking my head here I can't help it. That helps me stay in time. The next thing I can do is I can do 16th notes, which would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, and that'd be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a etc. And then what we have, it's really important that you do these with a metronome. So many people don't want to use a metronome, but we all know it helps us. It's not easy in the beginning. But if you keep doing it, it'll get easier with time, and you'll see that you'll see how much that helps you with all of your playing music. It'll with your rhythm guitar, playing with other people, it will help a lot. So then what you do is you have 24 different combinations. So there'll be 6 combinations per finger. So I could go 1, 3, 2, 4. I could go 1, 4, 3, 2. And then I could go 2, 3, 1, 4, starting with the middle finger. I could do with the ring finger. I could go 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 4, 2, 1. With the pinky, I could do 4, 3, 1, 2, 4, 3, 1, 2. And what you do is you do these daily. And you keep track of the ones you've done, and you keep track of the ones that are trickier for you, so you can, because it's telling you something. If this 4, 3, 1, 2 was a little funky for you, it's telling you that there's like some type of hitch or something in that combination that you want to work out. This stuff isn't always the most fun to do, but this is the type of stuff that will help you get better faster. By finger independence is huge. So you do that. Another thing you can do here is you can string skip a little bit. So if I went back to 1, 2, 3, 4, Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the middle finger and the pinky, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to put those down a string. So now I'm still doing 1, 2, 3, 4, but I pick the middle or the index finger on the first fret of the low E, and then I go to the A string of the second fret with the middle finger. Then back to the low E of the third fret with the ring finger, and then the pinky is on the A string of the fourth fret. So you're getting this going on. Okay, so we're just dropping down a string. So you can, you could mess with different combinations with that too. Another fun one to do here is we got the first finger on the first fret of the low E, third finger is on the second fret of the A string, middle finger's on the first fret of the D string, and the pinky is on the second fret of the G string. So we kind of got a chord shape like this. Not really a good sounding chord, but if we kind of arpeggiate it, so if I lift up and try to keep my fingers above each fret here, and I individualize it, as we get this right here. So you can see I'm going 1, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 1. And I'm employing here alternate picking when I do this. Okay, now again, you would do this with a metronome, so. And then when I get comfortable with it, I can start moving it up half steps. And I could take this up as far as I want. So if I took it all the way up the neck, then what I could do is I could drop it down a string set. I could bring that down, and then I could drop it down to the last string set. Right? And again, you just make these your own exercises too, right? Okay, that's a good one to do. The next one here is something I saw Joe Satriani doing at a show. He videoed backstage what he does, some of the things he does, the warm-up. And one is this, I call it a diagonal flip. So I got my first finger on the first fret of the low E, second finger, second fret of the A string, third finger, third fret of the D, and the pinky on the fourth fret of the G. Now all we're doing here is we're just going to flip this, so it's the same frets, but now my pinky goes to the low E of the fourth fret, ring finger on the A string, middle finger D string, index G string. So we get this, right? This it may look easy, but it's really not. So then what I do is I just start moving this up in half steps. And again, I would be probably with a metronome here. So if I did 1 per, it'd be. And if I get better, I can go. And again, you can drop this down. You can drop this down to the different string sets too. So I did the bottom now, the last 4 strings here. So this one's good for finger accuracy. And also the main thing here when I do this, when I flip it, is I lead with the pinky. And the reason I do that is because if you lead with the index finger, then you most likely will pull your other fingers back with you. Where if you lead with the pinky, it should help place these other 3 into position for you. Okay, some other things we can do here is we can do some just basic right hand picking stuff, just to kind of get our right hand warmed up. In fact, what you could actually do is I like to do some muted strumming, and I do this a lot before shows just to kind of get my right hand warmed up. So I'll just mute my strings very lightly here, and then I'm just going to start getting almost a drum feel with the muted strumming. Trying to make it as crisp as possible. And you can start breaking up the strings. And that really does start to sound like a drum. And again, you can do this with a metronome. So whatever we do, we're just trying to get our right hand nice and warmed up, right? Okay? Next thing we can do is we can start picking, if you wanted to stay with the muted strings, you could start picking just muted strings. Working for a nice crisp sound here with this. Now I'm just working my way down each string. You could or you could come back, you could do the low E, up on the A string, low E, up on the D, low E, G. So you're getting this, what this does is help you start to develop your feel where you're at with the strings. I see a lot of students that struggle with where they're at with the strings. Again, this could be done with a metronome. So if I did this with a metronome, this will come through. So B, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and etc., right? Okay? And if you mess around with these, you'll start coming up with your own ways to go about doing it, right? Okay, the next thing we can do now is we can start working on scales. Something I like to do to warm up is just pick a key, and then I work through my 5 major scale forms. And what I'll do with these is, pick a way to play them instead of just running them straight up and straight down. So maybe I'll play in triplets, groups of 3. So this is just a groups of 3 triplet. I'm going up 3 notes of the scale. Now some of this stuff I'm going to take that those of you will know these scales, your 5 forms of the major scale. So I don't really want to teach the forms here. I just want to kind of give you some ideas as how to go about practicing them. So the triplets, groups of 3, it's pretty easy to understand. All you're doing is it's a sequence essentially of notes. You're going up 3 notes, you're coming back a note, going up 3, coming back, up 3, back, up 3, and back. And that was 1 octave that got me from this G to this G, right? And then if I go, so that's the full scale. Now again, I'm going to do this here with a metronome, right? Okay. I'm going to put it at 80 beats. So if I have my my quarter note pulse here, the triplets counts here would be 1 and a, 2 and a, 3 and a, 4 and a, 1 and a. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through all 5 forms of the major scale. In this case, I'm in the key of G. So this to me was the E form here for that scale form I just played. And then the next one here would be the D form. So I moved up a D chord, I get a G chord. And that scale is that. And then my next one up here is going to be my C form for G. And it's that, right? So I'm just going through all my 5 forms. Now I have the A form here. A chord moved up for a G chord. And then you're getting into your G minor. Sorry, where am I at here? Yep. Or G major, I'm sorry. This is just my G form here. And that would be and I'm back where I started, an octave higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm doing that groups of 3, right? I'm doing it in every. So I'm going to go through all 5 forms with the metronome on, doing that, right? Okay. So we'll leave that at that for the warm-ups.